Shalom, Kol Aloyim, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. I wanted to talk about this word perspective, especially as it regards to the situations that we go through in this ministry, the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. And when you change your perspective, then in a sense, you change your walk, you change your experiences. And of course, we know that there's no such thing as free will. So I'm speaking on a very carnal and base level. But this video was really just a mindset video, that's all. You want to change your mindset concerning different trials and tribulations that you go through because it allows you to have a quote-unquote easier hell. And you do that by changing your perspective when you're in those different situations. So the first thing that I want to do, do is read the definition of perspective. And as you can see, I have it highlighted. Number 2, it says a particular attitude toward a way of regarding something, a point of view. So having a particular attitude toward a way of regarding something, a specific point of view. Now, before I read some precepts that back that up, I looked up these quotes on Google and I thought them to be pretty enlightening. And this is the first one that stood out to me. It says, changing your perspective changes your experience. And that fits entirely the motivation or the motive for this video. When you're in particular hard situations, if you change your perspective or your point of view, then it allows you to walk differently in the ministry because it now changes your experience. As an example, let's bring up the easiest and most common one, just financial issues. If you're going through a hard financial time or you can't get a job, you're looking for a better one, whatever it may be, you can look at it as the cup being half full or half empty rather, and you're being negative, you're being pessimistic. Now you're thinking, why is it always me? Why am I going through this? And you have this woe is me attitude because your perspective or your point of view is one where you're saying, damn, I'm catching all this hell. Now you're walking around mad, you're moping, you're looking angry all the time. Or you can change your perspective and your point of view, and you can look at the cup as half full, and you can say, hey, you know what? The Lord told me that different trials and tribulations will come. There must be a reason why I'm going through this. I have to learn to abound and abase. So let me just get through it right now and deal with the lesson that the Lord wants me to get. Now all of a sudden, you're not walking around moping and all angry. Maybe you're not jittery and happy and smiling all the goddamn time, but at least you're not walking around angry and with a frown on your face. And that's just one example. So changing your perspective changes your experience. I like this one too. I'm going to just see if I can zoom in on it instead of clicking it. All right, whatever, I'll click it. You cannot change the past, but you can always change your perspective. That was a real good one. This one was cool too. When you change your perspective, challenges become opportunities because now you're looking at the situation from a different point of view. Okay, well, it may not feel good what I'm going through. I may not like it, but how can I use this situation as an opportunity to grow in the ministry, to grow spiritually, right? How can I use the wisdom that I've gained from other experiences to now get through this one that I'm going through? So when you change your perspective or your point of view, now you're changing how you look at that situation, and it becomes an opportunity instead of a challenge, right? So I like these quotes on perspective. I like the definition, changing your point of view or your attitude towards a particular situation. And the first thing I want to read is this, Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. And that word prepare right here is very, very significant, because we're being told or being warned that we're going to go through different trials and tribulations. So now when they happen, it may not feel good in the present moment, just like how it talks about in Hebrews, the 12th chapter. But when you're in it, you have to take a deep breath. Woosah, right? You have to calm down and change your perspective. You have to change your point of view and remember the scriptures. There's a reason why these scriptures are called the Comforter, or the Holy Spirit is the Comforter, because it gives us an understanding of the scriptures, and now we remember verses like what we just read. Sirach 2 verse 1. Yeah, you know what? The Lord warned me and told me that I got to prepare my mind. I was going to go through things like this. I came in this ministry. I said I was up to the task, so let me get through it. Change my point of view. It says, set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. If you're looking at that particular situation, whatever it is that you may be going through, and you're hasty, all of a sudden now, you're probably saying, I got to figure this out. I got to do something. I got to change my circumstance. Instead of saying, hey, you know what? Let me set my heart upon the Lord. Let me not make haste and make an emotional, rash decision. Let me pray about this first. But you're not going to pray if you don't change your perspective or your point of view in the present moment concerning that situation. I want to jump over now to the book of 1 Peter 4. And we're going to read verse 1 in the King James on the left. It says, for as much then as Yahushua hath suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin. Now, I wanted to read this because of one particular word that it says in the NLT on the right. It says, so then, since Yahushua suffered physical pain, you must arm yourselves with the same attitude he had. You must arm yourselves with the same attitude that he had. And be ready to suffer too. For if you have suffered physically with Yahushua, you have finished with sin. You have ceased from sin, right? And the point here and the main word is attitude. You must arm yourselves with the same attitude, meaning we have to change our perspective or our point of view to what Yahushua had and what he went through. Yep, he went through different trials and tribulations. He went through these hard times. So we have to arm ourselves or change our mind or our attitude to having that same point of view. Because remember, the servant is not greater than the master. So if the master, meaning being Yahushua, went through it, then we're going to go through it too. We're going to go through our own personal trials and tribulations. So that's a big point of view that we have to change. And now just some other random examples that's coming to mind right now. And I made a video about this maybe a week ago, or two weeks ago, maybe tops. And this is a big one for women. It's a real big one, and I get it because of how we were all born and raised and what we were taught here in Esau's world, in his kingdom. But concerning a man having multiple women, it's a huge different mindset change when it comes to women. But you have to change your perspective to that of the scriptures. You have to change your point of view concerning that situation. And even for men, you have to change your point of view, now that I'm thinking about it as well, because a lot of men are out there thinking that it's just for fun and games, and it's just to have a great old dandy time and do whatever you want. But that's the complete opposite. When you go into it and look into it, having more than one woman was for the purpose of responsibility. It was a responsibility. It wasn't about having fun and you gloating about it. No, you were doing your neighborhood, your city, right, where you lived, a good thing. because now you were able to spread your riches and your prosperity around the land that you had. You made different deals, and it was a business transaction when you gained another woman to your household. And it helped out the surrounding villages. And that's just one example too. And then when it even comes to marriage in general, just learning that having sex in general constitutes a marriage. That's a point of view change. That's a perspective change. So we have to change our mindset concerning the scriptures as well, especially when you're first coming in, because you can't have that Western mindset. If you're bringing that Western U.S. mentality and culture to the scriptures, you'll never get it. Right? So our perspective have to change in terms of the situations and trials that we go through personally, and then also when it comes to understanding the scriptures and the different laws and breakdowns. Just a few examples here. I'm at 11 minutes. I'm going to keep this one pretty short. Just bring out those few precepts. Got to get going to a new appointment. So I pray that this was edifying to the elect. Call Halayim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rachakudash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, the great millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.